Hey everybody, it's Marty the JavaScript Party. I didn't bring Red in. No real reason. I guess I should have brought her in, but I didn't. So I am. This is the second video on this series where I'm going to try to build a flashcard builder. So basically a system. And what I'm envisioning is like sort of when you're writing, trying to create flashcards with your voice. Basically, you have two blank cards in front of you. To the left will be like the question card, and to the right will be the answer card. And if you say question, it'll select the question card. And then if you speak after that, it will populate whatever you said in there. And then into the question. Then if you say answer, it'll highlight the answer card. And then once you have something in the question and the answer, you'll have a button to create, or you can say create, and it'll generate it. And then maybe they'll look a little like a little table to the right or something that has like all the questions or whatever. I think that would probably be a good way to do that. But basically, this is Edge. I think for this specific purpose, Edge is a little bit better than Chrome. Just the way that the Microsoft Cloud works is different. But so this is a voice analyzer that I spent last year building, or most of this year building, and then and I can kind of at least prototype the idea. So the idea would be that, like, okay, I'm gonna push this button, and then if you could say like the word question. And so you see, at this point, I would have it sort of highlight the question side. What is a... So that didn't work. So probably like cancel, and then we're still on the question. What's a nice car brand? Answer. And so at this point, it would go over to the answer side, and then I could say Honda. So I could have said cancel maybe. Since I didn't like that answer, I could have said cancel. Cancel. Honda. And I think that's how the whole thing is going to work. So, and everything still seems to be good. This software is, or this API is completely in the WebKit, and it's not a very mature, like it's not a settled API. The specifications are not settled for this. All right, I'm going to go back to Chrome. I do prefer to use Chrome in general to Edge. I don't know why. It's probably just momentum. It's just what I've always used. But I'm going to go to GitHub. I guess the first thing to do is I'm going to go into the command line. So here's the command line, and I think it's cd technical. We did this yesterday. So basically, for my say hello project, we're almost having like a mirror session as that one. So if I say dir, you can see that in here I have a say hello, and then this one is going to be flashcards. And do I already have a flashcards? Because I know I have tried in the past to create flashcards. So make dir flashcard. So I think flashcard is going to be a bunch of applications. So there'll be like the creator, the generator, flashcard generator application, and then there'll probably be various different ways of reading it. But so they're all going to fall under this one version right here of flashcard. So like, let's say, so at this point I can say, well, I don't want to do anything because I think this is the point where it makes a lot of sense to go to GitHub and create a repo. GitHub Marty the Party. So I'm going to create a repo, and then I'm just going to say, I think I've been doing GitHub repos. Yeah, so that was 2018. But yeah, probably since before, like 2000. I bet you I started a repo within the first 6 months of GitHub existing. And it was very early. So I'm gonna go to repos, and we're gonna create a new one. Flashcards. Okay, Flashcard is available. Various. Eventually, there should be various applications for creating and consuming flashcards. I do think the voice part of this application is going to probably not be useful after a while. I think once we've matured and we've settled into a way of doing things. I don't know why. So I think I just did this, and I don't remember it adding a git ignore, but maybe it did. I can't remember what it was. Oh, I think the voice part will be like good for the beginning. But I think what will eventually happen is I'll go to like ChatGPT and just say, hey, here's my format. Can you make me cards for whatever? Although actually creating cards when you're doing flashcards is pretty useful. All right, so now it's giving me these steps, which I can copy them, all that. Yesterday I really enjoyed doing them one-on-one. So I'm going to go over here, up in here. Where are you? I'm looking for my command line. Yeah, okay, so that is my command line. So do this, do this. Now, CD flashcards. Flashcard, fine, flashcard. Yeah, okay, so what we want to do is the first thing, which is echo. So I'm just going to copy this line of code, or this line. And so if I do a dir right now, there's nothing in there. And I can type in explorer dot. And see, I'm doing this a little better because I pretty much did this yesterday. But I wanted to, while I was doing it, I was like, oh, I could have done this, I could have done that. All right, so basically there's nothing in this flashcard folder. This command line is looking at the exact same folder. So now I'm going to do this echo flashcard readme, and what it's going to do is it's actually going to create a readme file, and it's going to have $flashcard in there. Which the $flashcard, I think the dollar is markup, so that when you're viewing it in certain views, you'll be able to see that. As you see, now I have a README file there. Now, if I say git status at this point in time, it's like this is not a repo. So now let's go back over here and see now this git init will create a repo. Git init. So we've initialized an empty repository. So now if I say git status, I don't know what to do. So we basically say, hey, we got untracked files. But what's weird to me is I don't have a branch. See, so like right now there are no branches. So I don't know where, if I were to do an add, which is what I'm going to do now, I don't know what branch it pushes that into. But we're adding it to the repo. To what branch? I don't know. I don't really know what the difference between like a branch and a repo is. So maybe that's a place that would probably be good. Okay. So I probably first commit is probably not quite expressive enough. First commit for the flashcard. Suite. It's going to be a suite of applications, I think. This application, I think, the G is gone at the beginning. This is an application that I think I'll probably be working on for 3 or 4 years, I would guess, So I think that Say Hello, I'll probably only be coding for that for a year. I'll probably be all done with that one in a year. This one I think will take 3 or 4 years. And then the other one, my 3JS one, I probably don't see any end in sight. And then I have another one that I just working on my own, which is I'm trying to build like a gallery kind of system for uploading FTPing massive number of pictures, and so because I think cameras are really awesome, like especially those SLRs. You can go out and you can take all these amazing pictures, but then what do you do with them? And so I kind of want to build a solution for that. Okay, so now we're creating a branch, and apparently this -m is going to check out the branch as well. I'm not sure about that, but it will, so if I say get branch, right, get status, it says, so we are on a master branch. So I guess there's a default branch called the master branch. And so if I say get branch, yep, so we do have a branch called the master branch. Apparently this big M will then, I don't know if it gets rid of the master branch, it's kind of a side effect. Get branch -m main. So I'm going to say get branch again. Okay, so it took the current branch that I was on and renamed it to main. I'm not exactly sure. So now here's where we bind our local repo to the one at GitHub. And then here is where we push what we have with our first commit to GitHub. And here we go. And then I'm going to go back to GitHub and let's just see where we are there. Let's reload. So as you see, now we have a README and we have one branch and it's called main. All right, so now the next step is, I think there was okay, so we're done, right? We're done with all of these. I think this was the last thing. All right, so now I'm going to do an npm init, and I'm going to install the Angular CLI. Init, and if you put a -y, it'll just guess a good name for you. It'll just save a name out for you. Doesn't mean you can't save it yourself, but and as you see, let's see, in here we still have that. Now what was weird is it did say that it created a get ignore, but I don't see the get ignore in here. It might be a hidden file. So now we have another file called package. So this is the point that I will typically type in code dot. Now I will say that this does not work on my work computer, so it's not going to work on all computers. But I believe when I installed Visual Studio Code on this computer, it updated something called a path for my operating system, and that's why this code dot works. So it may or may not work for you, but what this will do is it will spawn Visual Studio Code in this new directory. Everybody is really pushing AI right now. AI is definitely a game changer, but it's not like it's the only game changer that's ever come around. I think people are being a bit overly. I think there's a lot of hype around AI. That like AI is amazing. It's like on a scale of 1 to 10, and amazingness, it's probably like a 6 or 7 for me. But I think I think the concept of an IDE, the integrated development environment, was a bigger concept than AI. But it is a game changer. There's no question about that. Okay, so we have our package now, and now I want to install the Angular CLI. So I'm going to type it. Oh, well, let's go ahead and look in our package. I always find this to be interesting. So once we get done with this, once we do our install, we're going to have a node modules folder, and we will likely, I think yesterday, like some automated system offered to add node modules to a get index. I'm guessing it's in there. That get ignore is in there. I just can't see it. I don't know why. But npm install at Angular/CLI. I love these drinks. They're like they're like seltzer water, and it's like, I mean, I love how they smell. Like, they smell really good, but then I also like how, like, if you drink a little sip of it, like, no matter how hungry you are, that hunger just disappears, or at least any hunger that I'm familiar with, just disappears. So I find that to be nice. The Angular CLI does take a long time to install. But as you see, I have this node modules now, which, like, it's going to be like thousands. Like, if we could see, it's over 4,000. Like, if you look over there, we're saying that there was over 4,000 changes, which is just, way too many. Now, we'll know that this is done, because this will be finished, but also because this package.json will be filled out with a bunch of stuff, and more importantly, there'll be a file called a package. Well, unless it's not that important, but there'll be another package.json file in there. Let's see. And yesterday, when we were dealing with ChatGPT, I think this is okay. So let's go ahead and close this Edge browser. And then I guess we don't even thought we had a. Yeah, there it is. So yesterday, when I was done with ChatGPT, I was in this exact same situation, and I wanted to get say we have our package lock file now. So I think it's done. I don't know. Yeah, so here's where this has too many active changes, only a subset of Git feature enabled. Would you like to add a node modules to git ignore? Yes. So it is saying that git ignore is a new file. It's a new untracked file. So that thing where it said create a git ignore, maybe I missed a step or something over at GitHub. Let's see, we have the Angular CLI 21.02, and we have our git ignore. I guess this would be a good point to add a commit. Let's just do that. Git add dot git commit -m adds the Angular CLI. Okay, so now, yesterday we dealt with ChatGPT, and I think it was at the bottom of this one where we so ng new my project is how you do this. So I like to do this inside of here so that I don't have to worry like yesterday, I think the Angular CLI might have been 21.01. And so today, this one is 21.02. So I don't have to worry if I put this in here, like what version, because it's the one I just installed. See, create app. And this is going to be my, what's it called? Flashcard builder. So basically in the future, I'll be able to see how I did this. And when I go to create my new one, I can choose to use the same CLI so all of them are in sync. Or I can change to upgrade. I could choose to upgrade. It'll be totally up to me. And this is going to be the builder. I think there'll be also like a display, and maybe that'll have other behaviors like letting you keep track of stuff locally, you know, and stuff like that. Don't know. But the building piece, I just want to be completely its own thing. So now we're going to try this npm run. I don't think, yeah, create. I'm just going to do it that way. I don't usually. I think I want this to be builder. And enter. And this takes a minute. And then I definitely want to have a Cypress. And I do think the Cypress won't be specific. Okay. Yeah. I would love to. I'll probably spend the next hour doing this, but I would love to figure out why Tailwind CSS and SCSS are like treated as if they're the same thing, because I think they're very different. Maybe not. I don't know. I think one of them is basically a programming language. To me, it's like a programming language. I think the other one is like an actual library, a CSS library that you can use. I think they're different. But anyways, I do not want to enable server-side rendering, and I don't want to use any AIs. I just don't know what the unintended consequences of deciding that are. I see I have a new folder now called Flashcard Builder. And if we look in here, we can see that we have we have our own new, in our package we have some new commands and stuff. It also knows these things. So when we do upgrades and stuff, you know, we'll be able to see where we're at by looking at this one. And this does take a bit of time too. Then I'm going to want to also add a new folder called Cypress, because I definitely want to have Cypress in this application. And that does not go inside of Flashcard Builder. It's weird. Okay. And it still wants to put it inside of there. So I don't know. I don't know what its problem is. But it's not letting me. The IDE just is not playing well. My other alternatives is I could come in here and see. As you see, we have our Flashcard Builder, and I can just create a new project, a new folder, and it's called Cypress. And that one, let's see. I can't remember. Sometimes you have like, you can kind of set it up to where you can, yeah, open in terminal. So like you can open that, you can pop this up from you can pop this one up from like you can pop the Explorer up by typing Explorer dot, and then you can get into here sometimes, depending on how you're configured, by typing in by right clicking and saying open in terminal. So let's just do this. So pm init -y. I don't know if I want to. Yeah, I think I want to do this now because I'm tired of waiting. And then I don't know exactly off the top of my head how you install. I'm sure it's npm install Cypress, but what is the npm command to install this Cypress E2E system? Okay, so I wonder if it should be dev. So should it be -s save dev, since this Cypress project will, yeah, I guess so, because you don't care. You don't really care about Cypress if you're doing this. Okay, so we are done over here. We have 23 changes, right? So we have Angular JSON, an app, all kinds of stuff. I guess what I want to do is go in there, cd Flashcard builder, and then npm start. And what I just want to make sure that the application starts up. I've literally done this, somewhere between 50 and 100 times, and it's never not started. So I have very high confidence that this is going to start. But like, I do not want to commit it if it doesn't start. If it doesn't start, I definitely want to just like bail and continue next week, because something is off if it doesn't start. Something's way off. Okay, so localhost 4200 should have my new application running there. And it says Flashcard builder up here on the top, so that's a good sign. It's crazy how long it's taking to come up. And there we go. So that's good. Guess I want to kill that. cd ... Yesterday I really screwed things up by. Okay, so I don't think there's anything getting committed that I don't want. So git add, or anything that's marked, tracked, that I don't want, and git commit -m. And we're just doing this straight on the main branch. Adds default Angular application. Alright, so that's that. I'm going to push this stuff because I'm confident we want it. And now, our other over here inside of, where is it? Oh, okay, I have another command line. So I'm going to close this one because that is a bit confusing. I'm going to tab over to this one. Now, get status, and then make dir. I'm just going to dir, see what we got. Oh, so we do have our Cypress. And then, what did this thing say? npm install Cypress. So this is just a standalone application all by itself, or a project all by itself. Did I? Oh, I never initted though. I don't think. Yeah, init-y. So I'm going to make it its own npm project. I do not. I've never pushed anything to npm or anything like that, so I don't know what the implications of doing it this way is. I don't think this is a good way to do things if you're going to push your libraries to npm. And the reason is because there's already a Cypress library. So I'm using this in a way that I've sort of organically sort of stumbled into, and I don't know if it's the best way for all ways of using things. So Control V. It's all Cypress save dev. And that will get its own set of its own package.json as well, and its own node modules. I thought that it also, I think it's still working, but I thought that it also added a couple of scripts for running Cypress. I do think Cypress is just, like, it is, okay, I think that, like, I remember, like, back in the late 90s, I would always say, like, what you need to do when you set up a JavaScript project is very dependent on how many lines of code you predict you're going to come. So, like, you're going to have, because, like, there were, back in the 80s and 90s, and JavaScript didn't come around until 96, but a lot in the 80s and 90s, you would have a lot of one-line applications. Like, it's literally one line, like move all files from here to there, or something like that, And it was like, sometimes people would write like these 30-line programs that could just literally be one line. And the problem is, so the overhead of having variables and all that stuff was like, to me, not worth it if it's just a one-liner. It's easier just to look at one line and figure out what that one line is doing. This is before a lot of the functional programming came out, though, because now you can do a lot of crap in one line that you used to not be able to do. But then I would always say, like, really, you probably don't need to set a variable, create a variable, unless you're going to have more than 3 lines of code. So, like, if you hit 5 lines of code, then you probably should, like, if you're going to, let's say you're going to read something from a base directory and you're going to write something to a base directory and a file, maybe you want to keep that base directory as a variable, things like that. Just generally the overhead of adding variables and things like that. And then it was just like, but if you're under 100, once you get to about 30 lines of code, you really need to have functions and methods or methods. And then it was like, and then once you get to like more than 100 to maybe more than 200, you really need to start having classes. And then once you get more than like 1,000 lines, you really need to have like a scheme, like an MVC, some sort of like where you divide up like an architecture. Once you get to like 1,000 lines of code, and then I was like, and once you get to 10,000 lines of code, the whole system collapses. So in this situation, none of these Cypress things should ever get more than like 200, 100 lines long, so it's okay for it to just be sort of in its own little area. I cannot believe how long this is taking, though. It does a lot of stuff, though. Like, it has a whole Electron application and all kinds of stuff. Now, we will notice that when this gets done, it's going to, like, if we look at our other package, so this is our app builder. Oh, no, not that one. If we look at our flashcard builder package, you'll see that we have a version of TypeScript. And I very, very, very much, Cypress also has a version of TypeScript, and I have another application that I mostly work on for this videos, the 3GS one, where I put Cypress and 3GS in the same folder or in the same directory, and or in the same project, and they will fight over this TypeScript. Fortunately, neither of them have created a dependency on a version of TypeScript that breaks things, but sometimes versions of TypeScript can't they really can't be used together. They're something that is sort of required in one version is absolutely legal in another version. Man, this is taking forever. I think it is important to sort of document how long these sorts of things take and all that, because like, I don't know, software development, much like many other types of business, one of the big dangers of it for you as an individual, as a developer, is you can get too abstract, where everything's an abstraction, and you kind of lose touch with the world. And one of those abstractions that you'll see in a lot of places is where they'll cut out in the video. They'll just cut it out and then start when this is done. And it's just like, I mean, I think that as far as learning, like if you're just like, hey, there's a very specific topic I want to learn about, and this video is about this very specific topic, then, skipping that is fine. But our topic right now is creating an application, and this is an actual thing that we have to worry about. So next week, so I'm kind of hop skipping, because like in the other application, I didn't install Cypress. So I did everything up until installing Cypress. So next week, I'll already have it. Okay, so that's done. So when we look in here, in our Cypress package, it didn't give me a command. So it installed a bunch of stuff. Let me see if I can just do this. It is weird to me that Cypress did not open, and then I don't know what the Cypress. See if we set it in here. Oh, npx Cypress open. Okay. Wonder if it needs to be npx Cypress open. All right. So now, in here, we're in our Cypress. So if I do a dir, we can see this. And I'm just going to say npm Cypress open. And I need to put the word run in front of it. Did I save this? So it said, did you mean npm run? Did you mean this Cypress open? Okay, this is the right one, right? Oh, it was npx, and I think it was Cypress open. Yeah, that was crazy. Let's try that. So it was actually complaining about not what I typed in, but what it tried to execute up there. Okay, so now it's starting Cypress up. Yeah, you will normally get. Okay, so I do want to allow. I think I want to allow. Unfortunately, this is a bit vague. I don't quite understand what I'm agreeing to, but. All right, so and this is what I expect to see at this point. Now it's going to have some default things and stuff like that in here. So in here we have our, this is not configured. I believe we can set up our first test in here. So we'll do that next week. So next week our job is to create a new Cypress or clean up all the stuff that's inside of the Angular and create a new test. And so I'm going to create an issue in GitHub about that, but first I'm going to commit this stuff. So we're right at the top up here, git status, and then what does it say? 6 files that it wants to commit. I think that seems reasonable. npm, no, git add, git commit -m, installs Cypress, and then git push. And now let's come back over to our, is it here? Yeah. Let's go to our issues. New issue is going to be remove default Angular content. Okay, so that's one thing. I'm going to assign it to myself, create, and then number 2 is create a Cypress test that runs, that checks to see that the Angular, that the Flashcard builder is running. So that's going to be a very simple one. Create. And I think that'll be good for next week. That'll be a really good start. So we have 2 issues. Those will be, I'll probably pull those into their own branches and do that, and run and do these 2 issues. And that is that. Happy coding, everybody. Bye.